Over the last 5 years, venture capitalists have deployed record amounts of cash into the startup ecosystem, yet the actual money returning to limited partners, a metric known as distributions to paid-in capital, is currently sitting at a multi-decade low. This chart reveals the magnitude of the problem. While dry powder scales upward, the downward plunge in actual distributions shows that up to 90% of venture-backed startups fail to meet their projected return on investment. Foundational research by Shikhar Ghosh at Harvard Business School verifies this math. Up to 75% of these companies fail to return their investors' initial capital. The friction that kills these companies is physical. Their software functions perfectly in a digital lab, but it cannot survive the complex environment it was sent to occupy. When founders build software, they work inside a sterile, one-dimensional digital lab. But the second that code is deployed, it violently collides with the messy, hyper-entangled reality of the physical world. We call this impact zone the interstitial brownfield. It is made up of 7-dimensional physical power grids, 4-dimensional sovereign legal codes, and 10-dimensional human communities. Despite this complexity, the legacy venture capital model still demands a zero-sum monopoly. Investors force 10-person startup teams to build their own massive compliance departments and navigate cross-border data laws alone. The resulting friction is catastrophic. Founders burn through their Series A and B funding, acting as manual shock absorbers for these physical roadblocks rather than driving innovation. Economist W. Brian Arthur argues that lasting innovation does not happen through isolated monopolies. It requires a different economic approach. On the left, a closed system consumes everything. On the right, combinatorial evolution, the symbiotic assembly of existing components. Progress requires merging the startup's scale-free digital code with the verified physical capacity of localized infrastructure. By forcing every company to act as a proprietary silo, the current system prevents this assembly. We must shift toward macro-systemic integration. To do this, we use a maturation facility. Instead of forcing a startup to conquer global laws alone, founders deposit their core IP here as a raw, unbundled capability. This schematic shows the SMCO airlock. A raw capability thread enters the chamber, intersecting with legal and thermodynamic parameters. This mechanism mathematically tethers the IP to physical grids and sovereign laws before deployment, ensuring the code is perfectly compatible with its destination. By proving the code can run within these constraints before any capital is risked on deployment, the airlock removes the primary cause of startup failure. Investors stop betting on a pitch deck's probabilistic guesses and start funding software that is already mathematically pre-verified for its environment. Once the capability is translated, it moves directly to regional routing systems, bypassing the need for a top-down global monopoly. Municipal utilities and regional logistics hubs are facing multidimensional crises. They do not need rigid software products from Silicon Valley. They need raw, modular capabilities they can use immediately. Local operators can snap these translated capabilities together, mixing a startup's routing logic with local robotics to solve specific supply chain bottlenecks on the ground. The startup's IP becomes an exoskeleton for existing systems, allowing it to scale across thousands of global ecosystems simultaneously, without the friction of traditional growth. For general and limited partners, this continuous routing system changes the underlying math of risk and return. Every time a local hub utilizes the capability to untangle a physical roadblock, the exact thermodynamic friction resolved is priced and returned to investors as kinetic yield. This model bypasses the traditional 10-year wait for a speculative exit, providing asset-backed returns the moment a specific industrial friction is resolved. By abandoning the pursuit of the isolated unicorn, venture capital becomes a predictable engine for solving industrial and municipal crises through shared global assembly.